Hello and welcome to CTV News Across Canada for Wednesday, December 3rd. We've got the top local stories from coast to coast, stories that affect you and the country. Thanks for joining us.
It was not the layoffs at Algoma Steel that were the surprise yesterday, it was the timing. The company was on its way to a newer, greener way of steelmaking, and the move to an electric arc furnace would mean less staffing. Company officials say these layoffs were a year in advance because of complications from tariffs. $500 million in funding from both upper levels of government was announced in August, and to the frustration of union leaders, job protections were not part of that deal.
I did voice my opinion that I think any money that's coming out of taxpayers' pockets should protect jobs, should protect the people that are paying those taxes. Unfortunately, that wasn't the decision at the end.
The government let us down in the sense that there was funding provided without any conditions, and the condition should have been that there had to be mitigation strategies. And some of the strategies were retraining.
Algoma Steel officials were standing by the support they received despite the layoffs. In a statement, President Michael Garcia said, in part, "I want to commend the Prime Minister and his government for the continued support of Algoma Steel and the Canadian steel industry. I would also like to acknowledge the unwavering commitment of Premier Ford and his government to our sector and Algoma in particular." For DePratt, frustration goes beyond the government, saying that union reps negotiated for some of that training to be done in-house.
We negotiated a mitigation strategy in a letter of agreement, which wasn't implemented. We repeatedly asked that it be implemented, and it wasn't, and it isn't to this day. The company is now saying through lawyers in arbitration that the mitigation strategies expired on July 31st. 2025, and that is simply not correct.
Algoma Steel officials did not respond to an interview request for this story. Cory Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
In a matter of just 6 hours, police responded to 6 reports of home robberies in Dollard-des-Ormeaux Friday night.
According to the initial information that we had, suspect had forced the entry in the door of each residency.
Joanie Charlon says the break-ins happened across a wide swath of the city, and there were no injuries. The thieves mostly took jewelry, and investigators are not yet sure if the robberies are connected. Sentinel Alarms' Ivan Spector says it's a bad time of the year for break-ins.
Let's understand and keep in mind that days are shorter now. It gets dark earlier. Obviously, this creates more opportunities.
He says apart from setting up a home security system, it's important to focus on deterrence.
The more things that you can put in the way of someone coming in is just to increase your odds of not being robbed.
That means keeping windows and doors locked, installing motion detectors, and advertising that you have security cameras and a dog, even if you don't have one. Lighting inside and outside is also important, as is keeping jewelry and cash in a locked security box outside the bedroom. If you're planning on going away, police recommend having someone check in on your home. Make sure your mail is collected, your driveway and sidewalks are cleared, and definitely don't post those vacation pics until you get back. And police say never take matters into your own hands.
If someone see a break-in entry, call 911 right away. That's the main thing. Don't try to approach the person.
Staying safe and vigilant. Denise Roberts, CTV News.
Hi there, can I get your health card number, please?
Scenes like this, a familiar sight during the COVID-19 pandemic.
In this situation, I was trying to help out the general public in getting 35,000 people vaccinated.
Dr. Elaine Ma organized drive-through vaccine clinics in the Kingston area. Years later, she's now fighting an order to repay the Ontario government $600,000 for improper billing in divisional court.
We're in a family medicine shortage, and we need to support our doctors. We need them to feel appreciated. And when on one hand, OHIP's attorney stands up and says, Dr. Ma did great work. Thank you very much. We're no way trying to diminish that. And then on the other hand, say, but this actually wasn't anything extenuating. And therefore, she should not only not be paid, but also should be out of pocket hundreds of thousands of dollars. Those two statements aren't congruent with each other.
The government says Ma misused an OHIP billing code because she hired unpaid Queen's medical students as volunteers, and the vaccines were not administered in her office. Writing in a statement, with the exception of one referring to Ma, who incorrectly billed the ministry for 21 times their eligible payments, all doctors who hosted vaccination clinics across the province use this special code to bill for vaccination at community clinics. Ma says there are broader impacts.
If the stance that OHIP has, which is that the physician can no longer bill for the services that are administered or done or performed by medical students, then essentially it is a situation where physicians are being asked to pay to train medical students. They're being asked to forfeit their own income. OHIP stepping in and saying, no, you can't do things in an efficient manner, then that limits our ability to provide care to our patients.
The Ontario Medical Association says Ma's innovative response saved lives and that she should be applauded, not punished. A decision on this is not likely to come until early next year.
A heavy police presence on Century Hill Drive in Kitchener Monday night. Police responding to multiple reports of a shooting in the area, arriving to find a 32-year-old Kitchener man with gunshot wounds and pronounced dead at the scene.
The male, a 32-year-old from Kitchener, was pronounced deceased at the scene. The investigation does remain ongoing by our major crime unit.
Police say the man was shot inside a vehicle. A white SUV could be seen crashed into a tree on Century Hill Drive Monday night.
I did see the vehicle. I saw when they were doing their forensics. I watched them tow the vehicle away, and the body, the coroner did take the body, and it was very hard.
Police have not said whether the white SUV is connected to the shooting. Witnesses saying they believe the man shot lived in the area.
I'm not quite sure who the person is, but they do live in the complex.
I saw a bunch of police presence, ambulance, fire trucks. It was very hard and impacting, and knowing that there was an active shooting close to home, it touched.
This is the first fatal shooting in the region this year.
It's very hard, and seeing the family mourn and just not being able to walk outside without knowing that there might be someone still out here and we don't know.
The neighborhood is getting really bad, and before it was good, and now it's getting really bad. It could have been one of us that got shot by accident. If we were walking out here at 10 o'clock at night, 10:30, we could have got shot.
Investigators are canvassing the area for any information or video they can gather and believe organized crime may have played a part.
So our major crime unit do believe that this was a targeted incident, so bear that in mind with public safety.
Century Hill Drive was closed between Old Country Drive and Bleems Road for the investigation. Police are searching for any tire tracks or footprints that may be relevant to the incident.
Now, a resident of the nearby housing complex tells us they believe there are cameras inside the complex, but they don't believe that they're working. That resident will at least plan to install a camera on their unit going forward. Now, police also expect to have a presence in the area as the investigation continues. And again, they're asking anyone with information or video of the incident to contact them.
We need a basic income because too many people in Nova Scotia today are suffering.
That's an organization called Basic Income Nova Scotia, declaring the province's poverty rates too concerning for inaction, downplaying government's concerns about the cost of a guaranteed income.
Poverty rates, food insecurity, and food bank use are all rising. Housing prices are out of reach for many, and non-market housing levels are far too low.
She says arguments that fewer people would work and that the cost of basic needs would go up with this government-backed program are simply not true, and a new demographic is included in the most vulnerable.
The traditionally marginalized, such as Indigenous people, African Nova Scotians, the disabled, and perhaps surprisingly, single adults between the ages of 18 and 64.
Nova Scotia announced today 2 minimum wage increases over the next year, rising by a total of 50 cents to $17 an hour by October 1st. More than $10 shy of the living wage, according to one study. But the Deputy Minister is not shying away from government's view on a basic income guarantee.
It's not something that we're considering right now.
He says that's mainly because of the cost, with two estimates from the Parliamentary Budget Officer projecting a $1.5 billion price tag for Nova Scotia, or a $2.6 billion cost, depending on the definition of family. It would cover personal necessities such as housing and food.
It would really mean basically reducing all of the benefits that we currently provide and having one streamlined process.
But Basic Income Nova Scotia says the province spends about $2 billion a year on poverty measures as it is. The Deputy Minister says government is focused on targeted supports such as rent supplements, heating assistance rebates, and disability supports. But advocates argue the Guaranteed Income Supplement and Old Age Security Pension for seniors are proof that guaranteed incomes reduce poverty and societal costs. Callum Smith, CTV News, Halifax.
The accident happened around 8:30 this morning on Middleport Crescent. That's near Morningside and Finch. A routine weekly garbage pickup that turned deadly. Police say a 66-year-old city employee operating the truck got out of the vehicle. It rolled forward, running him over. The truck then came to a stop when it crashed into a light pole. This is video obtained from a neighbor's camera. You can see the truck hitting the pole. In a second video, which is too graphic to broadcast, it shows the worker running beside the truck as it rolls forward without an operator. He slips on the snow and falls under the rear wheels. It happened in front of this woman's home. She explains what she saw on her home security video.
He was walking, he slipped, and the truck just went over him, and that's all I saw. It's really sad, like, we're upset. He's a serviceman. He deserved the full life.
It's really sad, that's for sure. I feel bad for, like, his family.
Toronto police sealed off the street and began gathering forensic evidence. The Ministry of Labour also sent investigators to the scene. There will be an inspection of the truck to make sure there was no mechanical malfunctions. In a statement released by the City of Toronto, a spokesperson wrote, quote, "We are deeply saddened by the death of a City of Toronto employee this morning following a workplace incident. We offer our heartfelt condolences to our colleagues' family, friends, and peers, and we are committed to supporting employees during this difficult time." The man killed was a member of City Union Local 416. It released this statement saying it is committed to working closely with the Ministry of Labour, investigators, police, and the City of Toronto to understand what happened. We will share further information as it becomes available. We have reached out to the family to offer our support. Our thoughts remain with the family, their loved ones, and all solid waste management colleagues during this difficult time. The cause of the accident remains under investigation. And the truck here involved was removed from the scene just a short time ago. The name of the man who was killed has not been released. Reporting live, I'm John Musselman.
It was a brazen daytime robbery in January of 2023. Three masked men armed with a firearm and a BB gun entered London Gold Buyer on Highbury Avenue with the fourth suspect waiting outside in a stolen getaway car. A female clerk was struck in the head immediately, and the store's owner, Daniel Lowith, would be shot in the chest. The agreed statement of facts says he was in the intensive care unit for 8 months in a medically induced coma. He was close to death and had 4 major surgeries and 31 minor surgeries. Lowith's wife, Carol, gave the lone victim impact statement, saying the lasting psychological trauma of this violent act can never be underestimated. Our family will always live with these difficult memories. Adding a message to the trio, she said, may they decide to seek peace instead of violence. After racing away from the store that winter day, the suspects were all apprehended at gunpoint by officers near Ingersoll. $65,000 worth of jewelry was recovered. In court, Tyrese Brown Austin, Dallison Emile, and Jaquan Buckner, all in their early 20s, pled guilty to a number of charges, including robbery, disguise with intent, and flight from police. Buckner is being sentenced at a later date. However, in a joint sentencing submission for Brown, Austin, and Emile, who have been in custody since the arrest, the Crown and defense agreed on time served. They've already spent the equivalent of 4 years and 4 months behind bars. Justice Patricia Moore told the men, for the sake of some quick money, you put someone's life in jeopardy and you put your own lives in jeopardy, given the possibility of a very long term in prison had Mr. Lowith died. She went on, "I hope you take this rather lenient sentence and move forward with your lives in a more productive way." The shooter in this case has already been dealt with. In August of 2023, 22-year-old Deshaun Stephen pled guilty and received a 7-year sentence. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
For the last 25 years, ringing in the new year in Barrie has taken place outside of City Hall until now. For the first time, the city's official New Year's Eve party will take place at Meridian Place along the waterfront.
It was one of those things where we realized that it was the perfect place for everybody to gather and to be able to come together as a community and celebrate New Year's Eve.
The festivities will now run from 5 to 9 p.m. and will include fun for all ages, with live music scheduled from 5:30 to 7:30 and fireworks capping off the night at 9. The move to Meridian Stage has residents excited to head downtown on the 31st.
Love it. Like I say, I'm going to bring the grandkids down. Just live right here on Owen.
It's actually something very exciting. I live very close to downtown, actually, and I'm always looking for activities. And New Year's Eve is like very special to me because it means like the beginning of something new.
The revised program is designed to support local businesses, reduce operational pressures, and provide a focused, family-friendly start to the new year.
We wanted to make sure that we were offering them the best. And then there's still the option for everybody to come downtown if they want to go to the family-friendly one first and then head out to one of our local businesses who are celebrating all the way through until the wee hours of the morning.
With businesses hoping the switch has a positive effect on the downtown core.
We've been wanting this for a long time, and it just makes total sense to have it in Meridian Square instead of on Collier Street. We believe the city's going to save some money and not renting a stage, and the BIA is providing a green room. So I think this is going to be very, very exciting.
Last year's celebrations were headlined by Madeline Merlot, Sunshine, and Broccoli. The city of Barrie is expected to make a headline announcement next week. Luke Samar, CTV News, Barrie.
It's not just an irritation. It's costing people money.
Residents took to social media in large numbers after Deputy Mayor Chris Gibb asked where outages and power flickers are happening most.
You know, social media is a good thing to get the word out, but even I was shocked.
Nearly 300 comments poured in. Many say the frustration has been ongoing for years.
The Kingsbridge subdivision, they had, over the course of 3 days, I believe, 12 to 15 major power flickers. So residents from that area reached out to council.
Those concerns stretch beyond homes and into local businesses.
If it goes out, it puts a lotto machine out, and that takes, 15 minutes or so to come back on. So if you get 3 or 4 in the morning, then you're in trouble.
We also spoke with residents on the street, all echoing similar worries about lost work, damaged appliances, and reliability.
Always ask somebody, did your power go out too today? And it goes off and on. Sometimes it goes off and on, and you're like, okay, I'm not setting the clocks again until it gets steady.
I'm just moving back to Ottawa. This is just incredibly stupid. They can't even keep the power on in this little town.
It's regularly here, weekly. It's ridiculous. You're watching TV, it flickers, your internet goes off and you gotta wait to come back on again. It's a constant thing.
Hydro is provided to Amherstburg through Hydro One and Essex power lines, but Chris Gibbs says the majority of outages, upwards of 98%, seem to lead back to Hydro One.
Everybody wants to build new homes and we want new growth in the area, so we want to ask, is this power grid ready for it?
Last week, council unanimously requested a meeting with Hydro One officials, and Gibb tells CTV News that meeting will take place over the phone tomorrow.
We'll see where it goes.
Hydro One says it's aware of the outages, has completed patrols of local power lines, and recently cleared vegetation to reduce the risk of further disruptions. In a statement to CTV News, a spokesperson said, "We will continue to investigate these outages to improve the system and service for our customers."
It's not only just part of Amherstburg, all of Amherstburg, and even people from other communities in the region. So I think it could be a Windsor-Essex issue.
Council says they'll continue pressing Hydro One until residents get answers and a more reliable power supply. CTV News will follow up on that meeting with Hydro One and bring you any updates.
With the town of Esterhazy being home to the Mosaic Company's largest potash operation, the town is always looking for opportunities to keep young people in the community.
Our students that are in Esterhazy, their parents already work at the mines. So with them getting the education in Esterhazy, they can become second or third generation miners, which means, of course, growth.
Now that's closer to happening.
I'm pleased to share that the Mosaic Company is committing $4 million to programs with several important education partners here in Saskatchewan.
Mosaic's $4 million investment will provide high schools and post-secondary institutions across Saskatchewan a chance to expand educational opportunities for students considering mining careers.
We are already looking at positions that we need to fill, one being industrial mechanics. So throughout the year, we've had about 20 rotating empty positions, and I've been trying to fill those. And there's about 100 roles just for industrial mechanics in Esterhazy. So it's critical that we start investing in that pipeline. So as people retire, we can fill it every time there's an opening.
Good Spirit School Division, Suncrest College, Saskatchewan Polytechnic, and a potash mining readiness program for Indigenous students will each receive at least $1 million from Mosaic.
We'll be able to almost quadruple the number of students that we're able to put through our practical and applied arts millwright program in Churchbridge that doors would have been closed for in the past.
It's a great pathway for students in rural Saskatchewan to be able to get this education at home is phenomenal, and we know that our learners thrive when they study close to home.
Each institution will use the funding differently, but the goal is the same, building a larger workforce for one of Saskatchewan's largest industries. Sierra D'Souza Buds, CTV News, Regina.
With the contract for animal protection services in Saskatchewan set to expire in March, the province has opened the work to new bids. Currently, Animal Protection Services of Saskatchewan handles enforcement province-wide, except in Regina, where the Humane Society provides the service. The Saskatchewan SPCA says it worries about the changes, including potential funding cuts.
The main one, though, would be around the financial constraints.
The province told CTV News it spent about $6.5 million on animal protection over the past 3.5 years, which works out to about $1.8 million per year. But the Saskatchewan SPCA says new requests for proposals suggest an annual budget of $1.6 million. It notes officers already log enough overtime to equal a full-time position.
They're already seeing, a strained workload based off the current of dollars that have been made available to them. We aren't sure how an agency taking over would do more with less.
Last week, the province announced it's updating animal protection legislation to improve transparency and accountability. The changes include a new code of conduct, a chief officer to oversee enforcement, and an appeals board on animal decisions. The Saskatchewan SPCA says there's still unanswered questions around the legislation changes and funding.
And any time that we can have an opportunity to get clarification, we welcome that.
In a statement to CTV News, the province says animal welfare remains a priority for Saskatchewan. It also says the proposed budget of $1.6 million reflects the funding that will continue to fully support enforcement under a new provider. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.